What's up, y'all? Welcome to Shaken and Stirred. I'm your host, Kristin. I am joined by my co-host, Lilla, and today we have Sarah with us from Fortify Health Coaching. We are super excited that Sarah is joining us.
Hey guys, I'm excited to be here.
Woohoo! Yeah, we are really excited to have Sarah on because she is obviously very intelligent and she's Meredith's partner. And Meredith was a previous guest. I'm sure you guys listened to her episode. It was packed full of information. Like you really, if you listen to it once, and I got so many comments about Meredith's episode too. A couple of girls were like, I think I need Meredith in my life. As I was telling Lila before you came on, and then I mentioned to you, you guys have such a wealth of knowledge about the topic of menopause and perimenopause. And when I put the poll in the stories, everybody wants transformations. Everybody wants women's health and hormones. So I'd love for you guys to come on often. And today I think everybody should just get to know you a little bit more and your history and what you do for your fitness and your business and how you guys approach your coaching. And I'd love for you to come back later on and we can dive deeper into any topics that maybe people ask us questions about in the meantime. And I'd love to just keep it going and have a relationship.
Yeah, we'd love that because, we can talk and we both have, I'm sure Meredith shared her story. Like, we're passionate about what we do because, we've been there and we've been like confused and like overwhelmed or like pissed off that there wasn't like that information available or mixed messaging or whatever. So, that's partly why we're so passionate about education.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. I know you've competed before and I know that experience is different for everybody. Do you feel like yours was overall a pleasant one and would you do it again?
So would I do it again? I'm like in retirement now. I said that out loud to someone. I was at a show over the weekend for a client and you see everyone right? But I competed for the first time in 2019 and I had great prep experiences in the sense like I didn't have any crazy protocols necessarily from coaching. That said, like in 2019, like I didn't fully grasp like the functional health side of things. And, my post-show experience did propel me forward to really dive into that, side of things. That was the same year I graduated, from USF, Tampa with my master's in exercise science. So, I went to grad school. I was originally on the nursing track in, my undergrad and decided to pivot and pursue coaching because I wanted to help people before they got sick. And, I was starting to see other people kind of doing the coaching. My first health coaching job was at a meal prep company here. So I was working with people and I was like, okay, I can help people like in this way. So anyway, got my master's degree in, with Dr. Campbell. And actually we did case studies and we're studying bodybuilders and, that sort of thing. But, my own journey post show, just feeling what I was feeling, like, we can dive into, whatever, but I was like, there's more to this and just really wanting to support my health holistically, and in my whole self, really was a catalyst to why I coach the way I do.
I get it and I love it. First of all, I think it's really cool that you could say retired because I can't bring myself to say it. Like there's always to me, I just am so inspired by the older people I see doing it. My friend Kevin is getting on stage in like 3 or 4 days at 60 years old, looking as good now as he did when he competed at 25 and 30 years old. So I know it's possible. And I also know what you mean when you talk about the post show. My post show was 10 times different with a female than it was a man. I don't even think I would still think it would be possible for me to compete again if I hadn't prepped with a woman.
Yeah. And it's funny you say that because, like, you never say never, right? Like, and to your point, like, just because we're not, I know people debate about this, but like, you can still live the bodybuilding lifestyle and not compete, right? So, like, I'm still going to have my Tupperware and, like, I'm it's still going to be like that.
Yes.
But just not competitively, maybe for a hot minute.
I just don't think for me, I never say never. And I feel like it's just such a great way to live your life in general. Like bodybuilding is a great way to eat. You know, it is a good idea to eat mostly clean and whole foods. It is a better idea to stay away from things that are in a package, things like that. So I just think also it's evolved so much in some ways in a great way and in some ways in a bad way. It's almost like political parties, just as far as training methods and drug protocols or not drug protocols and things like that. And, you know, macros versus eating clean and, you know how segregated it all can be. So I just think staying on top of those things as I get older will only keep me on the cutting edge of, because they're all doing it first. The bodybuilders do it first every single time. GLP-1s as a recreational, not
Well,
bad.
I mean, in grad school, we were studying like refeeds and diet breaks, but like that was stuff that like coaches were already implementing or starting to implement.
Experimenting. Yeah,
Right.
Lane and Scott Abel and all those guys were
Yeah.
light
Like
years.
cheat meals, like, or yeah,
They were
exactly.
light years
Maybe we called it different
for
things.
science. So I think that's cool to stay ahead of things. And I also think the difference in coaching with a man and a woman is huge. So that what you guys are doing, coaching women and being very vocal about women's health and optimizing your lifestyle, along with any prescriptions that you might need or supplementation that you might need. I think it's so important because there's just way too many men talking about these topics and women are thinking it's applicable to them and they're not all applicable. You don't diet a female client like you would a male client. I think you work with men, don't you? You work with men, right?
Yeah, I have a couple guys I work
Yeah,
with.
I always worked with both. And I think with the bodybuilding aspect, they know that you know the effort it takes and the work and they kind of look at you a little differently. But
and we talked about this when Meredith was on, is just sometimes as women, we feel more comfortable with a woman. Like I feel more comfortable with a woman gynecologist. I want to go to a doctor or work with, a coach like you who's been through it, who has hormones like mine, who goes through the cycles, not, 70-year-old Greg who's like, well, back in my day, my mama didn't go through none of that. So I don't know why y'all girls are crying about it now, and you're like, Greg, sir,
right.
I will tear out your eyes because of my hormones right now. Right.
Well,
Your mama,
and the birth control conversations, like all of that. Cause like I've had coaches that was like, oh, just tell your husband to snip it. It's like, you tell him. Like, what? Like,
gross.
It's like it's
just that attitude that there shouldn't be more thought put into it or that it shouldn't be a conversation or the options shouldn't be available or explained or whatever the case is.
Right.
Well, that's our whole thing is we want women, like let's use prep, as an example. Like we know like, yeah, bodybuilding itself, I think can be healthy, but like at the end of the day, prep itself, no, not healthy. Definitely not. And like, I want my clients to know that like, if this is your goal, like, hell yeah, I'm going to support you through it. But I want you to know like what you're getting into and that there needs to be an exit plan. And, there are risks. Like, even if you do it in the best way, no, we're not delicate flowers, but like you said, our physiology is a little bit different. And, depending on your history, like there's a possibility that hormones don't, bounce back or depending on your age and whatnot. And you got to know what you're getting into.
Yeah, for sure. And I do think I will stand by this. I do think there's a healthy way to do it, but you will have had to have put in so much time and consistency and effort and grains of sand that just piled up that it would literally be like a 15-year-long prep to get on stage. To be able to come off of it, it would also be another 15 years. Like you would step yourself down just this.
Right. It's like, what is health?
It is literally, but I do think there's a way to do it optimally. I mean, as far as blood work and hormones and all those things go, I think it can be as close to optimal as possible. I personally have never gotten on stage and felt like I was going to die. I never been dehydrated or but when I started, it was what it is kind of now for the fitness model thing. I don't even know that division that well, but they've included this new division that will eventually end up being a pro class, I'm sure. And it was just softer. We didn't have to be nearly as hard. I didn't have to do diuretics. I didn't have to take anti-estrogens. You didn't have to do that to be competitive in 2008.
That's true.
Now
Like
it's like you have to,
bikini now is like women's physique then.
yeah, I would
Like,
never. Like that to me is what would put me out is I just don't want to look like that. I don't look like that at all,
And
ever.
coming from someone that has never done this, I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like nowadays it's the quick, I mean, I'm sure back then it was too, but it's just a quick fix. People don't want to put in that work. They don't want to educate themselves. They don't care. Like Chris and I were talking one day that, you know, these people that are in the fitness world, some of them just aren't even educated in the fitness, you know, just in basic health
right.
and biology and stuff. And it's like, I feel like a
Yeah.
lot of competitors and just like a lot of models, a lot of people, they just want it done like this. Like I want to work out for 6 months, take some supplements, and then get up on stage. And they don't care what it does to their liver and their kidneys and their hormones and,
For sure.
you know, and I feel like that's so important, but
yeah, absolutely.
Well, and I actually had the opposite. Like for me, getting into bodybuilding, I got into it because I wanted to build. Like I wanted to build muscle, and my goal was to eventually get on stage.
Yeah.
But I think approaching it from, oh, I want to do this to lose fat. Like I want to look like her. Totally. Like, and you just miss out. Like you miss out on like the fun of it. Like that, like we were saying like before, like the gym culture and whatnot. Like, you know, you miss out on that. And I think that's, you know, also what we're really passionate about is like, you know, building like strong, resilient, you know, women, you know, and you don't do that in a cut. Not like that.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
No, maybe you do. Maybe you build some mental fortitude. Like everyone's background is different. Like
For sure.
my background's an eating disorder and restricting. So for me, like building was like a really empowering thing for me.
Yes. God, I love stories like that too, because you don't hear them enough. And people think, oh, you're so skinny, so nice, blah, blah, blah. And that has not been my personal history, but I've watched my sister be very bird-like. I mean, Lilla knows my sister. My sister could put her arm out like that. It looks like a cartoon. It looked like it bent the other way. She was just very frail and very petite and pretty, cute figure, very pretty girl, but always hearing, it must be so nice to be skinny and blah, blah, blah. And she's trying to gain weight and I'm watching her. And when you've had an eating disorder, any type of eating disorder, I think can benefit from challenging workouts and you seeing what your body is capable of instead of just what it looks like all of the time. So that to me, I feel like is where the exercise aspect is healthy and maybe the meal plan portion is not.
Yeah. And that was like for me getting into the gym, it was like that, okay, building, you know, and building and supporting my body and then learning like, oh, if you want to do this, you got to eat for it and you got to take care of yourself. And that's, you know, what kind of shaped my journey, like, and, you know, going into college, you know, getting into, you know, what I ended up getting into.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. Tell me more about how you met Meredith.
Yeah. So we actually met through so we were like we would be in the same courses together, you know, different, you know, Austin Stout mentored both of us, so we would be in some of his classes and stuff together. And then our friend Sonia, God, this was like 2021 or something. Remember that app? It was called like Clubhouse. It was like this weird app. It was like a
you had to
show.
like you had to be like suggested in and stuff. Like you couldn't like just join and like you had to get, I remember.
Yeah, she was like, this is going to take off. Like we should do it. I'm like, okay. And that's kind of like, we were kind of started talking through that. It didn't take off, but instead she was like, let's start a podcast. So we started a podcast together, Unnamed and Untamed. It's still, we're not doing it anymore, but you can still listen to it. And we did that for a couple of years, but that's how we, you know, became friends. And then 2023, we were both kind of looking to make a move, you know, business wise. Yeah. You know, she was looking to kind of branch off and do her own thing. I was looking to grow, and we were like, why not us? Let's do this together. And that's how Fortify was born in 2023.
I love it so much because I just know how difficult it is to find women that are on the same wavelength as you as far as your coaching goes. You can have, you and I probably would have had different, I don't even know what the word would be, philosophies to theories, whatever you want to say, programming techniques. Some people like fasted cardio. Some people think it's trash, things like that. So I think it's cool that you guys complement each other enough that you can have a business that's in alignment and you can support each other and
Yeah, I think we're both
other.
we see everything as a tool, right? Like we're both very like open-minded, which sometimes like I wish I wasn't that way because I'm like, well, maybe, and I can, we can make an argument for everything, sometimes.
Yep.
So which is great. And, it makes us, I think, great coaches. But at the same time, sometimes it's like,
Ideas. I say it all
right,
the time, like
right.
every idea is not a good one.
Yeah. That's why like I gotta like bounce my own like ideas for myself off other people.
Yeah, I get it. Totally forgot that I wanted to incorporate this, but I don't. Hold on. I don't want to forget to ask this question because I think this is such a cool, like, signature question to ask. What do you feel like is really making your day just thrive? Is it that you're swimming in the morning and then you grab a coffee with your man before you jump on a call and your day's filled with coaching calls and you love that? Then you go back to the gym. Like, tell me how you're mixing up everything in your life to kind of make it what your life is.
Yeah, I think for me, a lot of my own fitness, like swimming and like lifting, running, is like I just want to see what my body can do. Like I just want to like to me it's fun to like learn a new skill or like just like I mean swimming. I actually joined a master swim group and like I thought I was, doing okay. Like I knew like I'm like and I go to this master's swim group and I'm like, I'm prepared to be the worst one here. Please help me. And that's kind of what happened. And then like, but I'm cool with that. Like I like, and so for me, what I do as a coach, like, let's see, it's about supporting you and like giving you the tools to, for your body to do what it's capable of. Cause yeah, maybe you're not in a state of optimal health or you're not where you want to, quote unquote be yet, but what can we do to support you in getting there? So that's, I think, maybe how they kind of blend together. Yeah, I'm definitely finding the more I step away from work, as freaking hard as that is, even if it's just for a couple hours, like on the weekend or whatever, like I'm so much more creative, right? Like, or I get these ideas, or I mean, like clients, I don't think realize that like you think about them, like, you have like, you think about them at night, right? Like, it's like, how can I help so-and-so? Or like, what tools can I use for so-and-so? Or maybe I find something in my own training or my own nutrition. I'm like, oh, Katie could use this or whatever, so I don't know.
I do. I think it was actually really good for me to step away from coaching because I was riding down the road yesterday with my daughter and I cried over a client that I missed that has passed away. And she was an elderly woman and she started with me at one gym and then she followed me to another gym and then that gym moved locations to a big brand new beautiful gym and she followed me there. And then she was in the nursing home and I would go see her. And I don't know, man. Something hit me yesterday because I was on the same road and we were talking about a dog of mine that passed. I think for me to go like live my own life and not think about other people, like 30 and 40 other people at a time in a day or a week or whatever, was probably very good for me. I think I'm almost too empathetic. Like, that's why I have to be like, no, nope, that ain't making the cut. Okay. We're caring about a whole lot over here. That ain't making the cut anymore. So I think I love it so much. I do. I mean, obviously, I'm so passionate about informing women and educating women. And I think you're so dead on when you just say everything is a tool. And if I can educate this woman about how this one tool could make their day 10% better, and we stack 10 of those together, that's 100% better.
Yeah.
So,
or hey, that tool, you don't need to like add, like you're saying, you don't need to add that to your mental load. Like that's not going to help you. Like
take it off your cup.
whatever it is, like the keto fasting mimicking whatever, or like that shiny object, like you don't need that.
You don't need it.
But for someone else, it might be that next level thing.
It could totally be. We were just having this conversation about fruit fasting. I was having it with Spud that owns the gym where I train. And obviously it sounds wild. Sugar fasting sounds so wild. Do you follow Mark Bell?
I know, like I don't follow him, but I know he does like some crazy experiments and stuff, right?
Funny because we talked about this guy on Meredith's episode, Ray Peat, but Mark Bell attributes these philosophies and these theories to Ray Peat and his research that he did in like the 60s and 70s, where he basically
Okay.
utilized sugar and progesterone and estrogen and all these things that they weren't talking about back then. He did a ton of experiments on them and recorded them. And there are people today that are applying the principles. Stan Efferding is a big fan. It's where part of his vertical diet came from. So these guys are educated. Anytime Mark Bell or Stan says anything, I listen. And Spud is like that. So I was asking him about the sugar fasting because my husband is trying to get in a race car and go faster. And what's one way to make the car faster? Make it lighter. So we were talking about whether or not the sugar fasting would be good for him, strictly because he has done like 27 bodybuilding shows. I mean, he's dieted.
Right. So what's his metabolism
What is
like?
left to try? Like, what's left to
Yeah.
throw at his body that it hasn't done 10 times already? And he just gets stubborn. He's from a bigger family. I mean, his shoulders are like 56 inches wide or something. It's nuts. So I do think that being able to inform women that you have the ability to use these medicines, these vitamins, these supplements, these activities, these sleeping habits, all of that is just encompasses everything that we do. And when they have somebody like you or Meredith that they can look to and they trust, you can help declutter all of the noise. So I feel like it's just, you have to be so vocal in doing that so that the women know you're out there and you're doing that part. Congratulations. I think it's really cool. I think you guys are killing it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. You have anything you want to add, Leela? I'm gonna look through my questions and see if I missed anything.
You were just saying, like in the very, very beginning, you said, along the lines of, how Meredith shared her story, like, so was it just like college, or was it like one big event in your life that kind of really pushed you in this direction? Or like, what was the thing?
God, I feel like, unfortunately,
Sorry, that's a loaded question.
I feel like, and this is where, like, I think people think like I don't know, for some people, I think there is a thing. I think for me, it was multiple like things, like multiple like aha moments. And that's why Mary and I are so big on just like giving it to people straight, because it was those people that made the biggest impact for me. I think like just a couple standout like mic moments were like, I remember a doctor was like, "You're eating enough for a toddler." And like, that was like oh shit, or,
Mary, Sarah.
just, I think, yeah. And I think, and I mean, my husband, like, credit to him, when we were dating, it was like, he was like, "You're the girl I want to marry, but like, I can't, like, I'm seeing you self-destruct and I can't co-sign on that."
Yeah.
And I think for me, just like having people that cared that way, was really big. And I think for me too, just like you were saying, like I was starting to experiment, like I knew the stuff, right? I knew what I was doing at a certain point wasn't helping me. Like I knew that I needed carbs and I couldn't, be the athlete that I wanted to be. And then all of a sudden I was like, why am I getting in my own way? Like, why am I holding myself back from, school and education? And why am I holding myself back as an athlete? And that was kind of like my mental switch, that like, I'm like the thing standing in my way and I don't want to freaking be that anymore. So I think that's too a lot of what I do as a coach is like, I'm very collaborative in my coaching, because I know like I can't do it for anybody and I don't want to do it for anyone. Like I want you to take ownership and you to have these tools to put in your own life. And yeah, like I'm here to support you and guide you, but it's got to be you, babe,
Yep. Have you ever fired anybody?
I haven't fired anybody, but I think I've definitely like, it's just kind of been like,
what are we doing?
What are we doing? What are we doing? Because I have no idea.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's kind of frustrating for me as a coach.
Right.
Because I've had a lot of therapy. I got a lot of psych tools. I stay in my lane, as far as that goes. But
your coaching scope, but like, why are we here?
I know enough to know when it's like, you got to go do some work on your own.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, but I'm not into getting paid just to say you have a coach and you're not going to do anything. I'm not into that.
No.
Like, don't pay me and then not send in your check-ins when I ask. Not like, we're not going to do that. You're not going to tell people I'm your coach when you don't do shit I ask you to do.
Right.
You're just not.
And then they're like, "Oh, it's not working." And you're like,
"No, you're not working.
Oh, you're not working. You're not working." That's what I tell people all the time.
Right.
Yep.
Like, this is only going to work if you're willing to work.
Yeah,
That's it.
work.
I can't force you. I can't make you do anything. I can help you, give you all the tools, suggestions, guide you, foster you, give you, you know, virtual support, but I can't force you to do anything. So,
Right. And I
going
think as a coach, like that's all you can do is you can give up, you know, your tools. But, you know, and like I said, like I, you know, had multiple people and it took like, and that's what helps me when I do have like cases like that. It's like, okay, maybe at least like part, you know, I could have been a part of that journey. And in 5 years, you know, you're going to figure it out, you know, for you. And I do hear that. Like I was talking to someone, you know, over the weekend and she's like, I know I was a shithead and I've done the work, and I could see it on her face. And I said, I can tell, like, I can see you're glowing differently than when I last saw you. And I know you've done the work and I can tell.
I have
And good
had
for you.
that happen a few times. Yes, I have had that happen a few times. And funny enough, it was in situations where the coaching got to a point where I had to say, look, this is not good. This is not going anywhere. You are wasting your time. You're wasting my time. You're wasting your money. And later, and, you know, was kind of angry. Now I've got animosity about the situation. You might be cool, but now I just don't like you. Now I'm just mad at you and the whole situation, and I just am good. I'm good. And with those two specific instances that I'm thinking of, I've got messages later on, years later, from both of those women saying, thank you. You told me what I needed to hear, and it didn't click at first, but I finally got it. And I have 2 babies now. And like, yeah. So you might just be a peg on their way up the mountain.
Right.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
That's totally fine. But yeah, you do have to just spit the truth sometimes. And when you're as nice, like you are a nice person. Lilla is a nice person. Lilla's speaking and coaching with people all day in a different setting. And I mean, I think I'm a nice person. I'm a kind person at the very least. I mean, I'll talk shit, don't get me wrong, but I'm never hateful. And sometimes when you're coaching, you have to find the way to be direct without being like, oh no, I can't say this to them. You know, as the female coach, I can't say this. This might hurt their feelings. You have to say the things that will hurt their feelings sometimes.
Right.
Yeah. And it's not because we care, right?
Right.
Exactly.
Yes.
And how many times in life has someone hurt your feelings, but it was valid? And then later on, you know, you're sitting at home and you're like, damn, that's right.
Yeah.
You know, I go through this with my husband all the time. He'll say something to me and I'll be like, that's so mean. And then later on, when I have time to process and reflect, I'm like, yep, that's what I needed to hear. And let me kick my ass into gear. All right, let's go. You know? So yeah, maybe, you know, we are just these stepping stones for people. And maybe we're going to be the people that one day someone reflects back on and says, damn, when Lilla put me in my damn place, I wasn't ready then, but I'm ready now. And so that's all we can do, is be those stepping stones or push them all the way to the finish. I know.
Okay. So what is one thing that you feel like you're still unlearning?
Ooh, that rest is productive. That rest can be productive.
Got it.
No, it can be productive. It isn't that I can lay by the pool like nobody's business. Can I not, Lilla? Like,
Yes, you
I
can.
rest by the pool, no trouble.
Yeah.
But even then, I want to be like cleaning the pool or like.
Oh, girl, same. Like, and what I'm learning,
there.
this is what I'm relearning. I don't know. I balance whatever, like if we're going for that, doesn't have to look like what, you know, Sally Sue self-care says on Instagram. You know, and I was talking to about this with a client too. Like, I'm like, it's cool if you're winding down with your husband and folding laundry and watching a TV show together. Like if you feel like you have to, and like whatever, like maybe chill for a little bit. But like, if you don't really like watching TV and you got to do the laundry, but like, that's the way you can, you know, like we can whatever. I feel guilty for like, that's like, this is who I am, right? Like
Right.
that's, I think that's what I was trying to say. Like, let's not feel guilty that like, I kind of want to read my book by the pool for like 30 minutes and then I want to go do something else, right? It doesn't need to be like, oh, I force myself to do nothing.
Right.
Like
if my relaxing is folding laundry, if that is therapeutic for me to just sit, maybe put on some music and fold laundry, and that's not yours, that's okay. You know, it's just like baths for me. I love the idea of a bath, and then I get in and I have my book and my candle lit, like you said, like Susie says on Self-Relaxation Sundays. And then I get in there and 3 minutes later, I'm like,
It's hot in here.
now I'm sweating. Then I add cold water, and now the water's too cold. Now my book's wet. I didn't like, it is just not. But some people are like one of my friends, she takes a bath every single night. It is her absolute favorite time of day. If she misses a bath, her day is ruined. But I'm sitting there and I'm like, I can't.
I'm like, it's hot. Isn't it hot? But I don't know. She was in great shape. She looked great. I can't really argue with the result.
It worked for her. Like you said, it worked for her, and that's fine.
And you got to know when it's working for you and when it's not. Like,
Right.
I think for me, like just learning that like, okay, like I do have to step away, like even if it's only for, a couple hours, like, or whatever, like, or okay, like you can't be working every single weekend. Like you have to have, one day or, at least half the day that you're not like thinking about, it's hard because we are our job, right? But at the same time, like I am so many other things and I have to nurture like those sides of me too, to be able to be like that well-rounded. And I think that's like what taking care of yourself and like that functional like health perspective, right? Is like, you can't get so zoomed in on one thing that you forget about the rest and you forget that it's all like a unit. You're a unit of a person,
Yep. And your
I don't
entire
know.
life is a unit.
Part of it. Right.
Right. It's like the emotional, the spiritual, whatever, it all, is connected to the physical.
Yep. And across the time, the distance of the time and your lifespan and all those things change in the different parts of your life. And yeah, you got to know and I refuse to say this, but you have to know what phase of your lifespan you're in, because we don't say in this season, in this fucking house. Okay.
In
Okay.
this season.
If I hear, and I'm just going to say it now, if I hear one more woman say, and not specifically to me, just on Facebook or wherever, in this season, now y'all know I'm as busy as the next person, but one thing you will never hear me say is, oh, I'm so busy. You know why? Because I asked to be busy. You don't hear me complaining about it. I wanted to have a lot going on. I love having animals. I love having a family. I love doing those things with my family. I love traveling. I love having a lot going on. I'm never going to say, oh, I'm so busy.
Well, and that's not a how are you? How are you? Oh, I'm so busy. Okay.
No, it's not that's not a response to how are you. You could say I'm frazzled because I'm so busy.
Yeah. If I see that, it's like, I don't want to talk to you, right?
Right.
I'm busy. Yep, I'm busy. What do you need? My phone's about to die.
Yeah.
I'm in a bad
It depends. It depends. What do you, yeah.
That's so funny. Okay, so I think this is a fun one to close on. What is something you wish people knew about you beyond your coaching and your marriage and just you as a person?
Ooh.
Not to put you on the
I think
spot or
that,
anything.
yeah, I feel like I come off as like very like intense and like deep, and I am, but I'm also like a goofy, like I'm funnier than I think I let on social media.
Sure.
Like I've had people tell me that. They're like, you're a fun time. Like I didn't think that, from looking at you. I'm like, thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
I
you.
think.
Like I'm very much a when in Rome kind of person.
Sure. I could see that, I think. I think part of it too is your voice is it's very pleasant and you just sound like authoritative, like you know what is going on.
I did have a client / friend tell me one time, she's like, you're going to make a great mom someday because you're terrifying to disappoint. Oh shit. I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but
Right.
Like a
Let's dissect this.
yeah.
compliment. Well, if everybody wanted to find you, where can they find you on socials and direct them anywhere you'd like to?
Yeah. So at Sarah Ford Bishop is my Instagram handle. Fortify-health.com is our website. And that's like got our blogs, podcast links, Instagram links, all of that fun stuff.
Awesome. Lila, you want to drop yours?
I'm just here, guys.
I'm just here for the combo.
She's here to remind
I'm just
me
here
that
for the good times.
She's here to remind me that it's at cocktailsmag_.
Underscore. Yes.
Underscore. I hate that, by the way. I mean, look out
It's
for
the only thing you can do.
rebrand. Yeah, check it out at cocktailsmag_. I did just recently get the magazine set up for monthly payments, a monthly payment option. It's like $8.99. There's no setup fee. It's only, it's 4 issues a year. So you'll pay 3 payments before you'll get a magazine. So don't get wrapped up in those details. I think that's it. Go get your magazine and go visit Fortify Health Coaching, Fortify-Health Coaching.
Fortify-Health.
There you go. And we will see you guys next time.